We've all seen the victory feasts in movies, the drinking horns, the laughter, the gold piled high. But there's a story that begins after the fires die down, a story that isn't often told. This is the story of noble women, princesses, and daughters of chieftains whose halls had just been conquered. Their fate was not a footnote, it was a strategy. This is not a story of romance. This is not a story of rescue. This is a story of survival, power, and the unspoken cost of defeat. Today, we will uncover 7 tragic fates that reveal the hidden reality of the Viking Age. If you value deep, documented history, subscribe now. It's the best way to support our work. And comment below to let us know which city you're listening from. In 821, the Irish settlement of Éire, today known as Howth, was plundered by Norse raiders. The Annals of Ulster records it starkly. Éire was plundered by the heathens, and they carried off a great number of women into captivity. This was no random attack. It was a targeted acquisition of resources, and in the 9th century, one of the most valuable resources was people. Captured women were stripped of their names, their lineage erased in a single brutal act. Under Norse law, they were classified as throws, the lowest rank of society, property, not people. Their journey into servitude began on the decks of longships, crammed together as human cargo. Only the resilient survived the harsh North Atlantic crossing. Their destination was likely Dublin, soon to become one of Western Europe's largest slave markets. There, they were sorted, valued, and sold. A healthy young woman could fetch 12 to 20 ounces of silver, the equivalent of a small farmstead's yearly yield. Some were sold locally, others shipped to Hedeby, Denmark, Birka, Sweden, or even as far as the Byzantine Empire and the Abbasid Caliphate. Skills in weaving, medicine, or other trades, once symbols of status, now only increased their price tag. The annals do not mention a single name. They became a number, their lives deliberately erased, absorbed into the economic machine of the Viking world. Confiscated, inventoried, silenced. 2 centuries later, the Icelandic Laxdæla saga gives a name to one such captive, Melkorka, daughter of the Irish king Murkiartin. In 956, a Viking raid shattered her world. She was captured, shipped to Norway, and sold in a bustling market. A wealthy Icelandic chieftain, Höskull Dalakollan, was struck by her beauty and presence. The merchant claimed he did not know her name. Höskull paid 3 marks of silver, an enormous sum. For years, Melkorka refused to speak. Silence became her armor, a way to protect a fragment of her identity in a world where she was otherwise powerless. Eventually, Höskull overheard her teaching her son Gaelic, revealing her royal birth. Her status in the household improved slightly, but she was never freed. She died in Iceland, thousands of miles from her homeland, remembered only through her son, who later became a powerful chieftain. In 870, the infamous sons of Ragnar Lothbrok, including Ivar the Boneless, marched on the monastery at Coldingham. a cliffside double monastery of monks and nuns. Abbess Ebba the Younger understood what awaited them. Viking raids on religious houses were notorious not only for plunder, but for the systematic rape of women. Faced with this fate, Ebba performed a shocking act of defiance. She mutilated her own face and urged her nuns to do the same, making themselves a spectacle of horror. When the Vikings finally broke in, they found not trembling victims, but intentionally disfigured women. Enraged, the invaders set the monastery ablaze. Ebba and her sisters chose fire over subjugation, leaving their bodies to the cliffside soil. In September 1011, Thorkel the Tall led a Danish army to besiege Canterbury. The city held out for 20 days, but was betrayed from within. The Vikings took the city leadership captive, then sacked Christchurch Cathedral. Noble women, however, were spared. Hostages and bargaining chips in a brutal negotiation. The following year, £48,000 of silver was paid to secure peace. These women's freedom was likely part of the payment, their lives treated as line items in a national ransom. Meanwhile, Olaf the White and Ivar besieged Alt Clut, known today as Dumbarton Rock. After 120 days of siege, the defenders surrendered. Among the captives were the King of Strathclyde, Arthgo, his wife, and other noble women. For them, rank meant nothing. They became human cargo, their value calculated at Dublin's slave market. This event reveals that Viking raids were not merely opportunistic, they were organized slave raids. Iceland's Landnama book documents the colonization of the island. The story is often romanticized as brave settlers seeking freedom, but the reality includes stolen women. One example, Hreifgar, an Irish noblewoman, was forced into marriage by a Norwegian Viking. Modern DNA studies reveal that 63% of the first Icelandic women settlers had Irish or Scottish ancestry, showing that these women were forcibly transported and became the foundation of Icelandic society. In 1904, archaeologists discovered the Oseberg ship, a Viking burial mound filled with treasures. Inside lay two women, one elderly, one around 50. Modern DNA analysis reveals that the younger woman came from far outside Scandinavia, possibly the Black Sea region or Iran. She may have been captured noblewoman forced into servitude in Norway. When her mistress died, her life was forfeit, sacrificed to accompany her owner in death. The burial reflected the mistress's status, not the younger woman's life. She was property, even in death. These stories are not isolated. Historical records from the Annals of Ulster to the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle are filled with entries about captured local women, while Viking men were rarely taken alive. For every raiding ship destroyed, dozens returned with human plunder. These women were the invisible currency of the Viking Age, the true spoils of war. Their value measured in silver, their names and lives lost to history. If you found this story compelling, subscribe to Mystic Legacy Vault for more untold tales from history's hidden past. Share this video to honor the memory of those whose stories were erased, and leave a comment telling us where you're listening from.